everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. It is a gloomy day out there. It's very, very gray, so I have my lights. I know it's going to cause some shadows, but otherwise it would be pretty dark. I feel like sometimes I get more done in the winter because I'm not tempted to go outside for the myriad of reasons, and one of which is sitting at poolside with a book, or, you know, just sitting poolside with an app or something. But at least there's usually sun. It makes it a little bit harder to film. So I'm going to do a project for you today that has a stamp set from this mini and paper from the Saleabration catalog. By the time this posts, I would say 90% of my catalogs are out. Club may or may not be out depending on how my week has gone. It will definitely be out by Friday of this week, and I'm not sure what day I'll post this video. So if it gets posted over the weekend, then you're good. It'll be on the way to you. So if you haven't gotten a shipping notification from me by this weekend, it should have your tracking information with your catalog. If you requested it, if you made a purchase since June, if you're in club, if you haven't gotten that, a lot of you got them with your November and December thank you gifts, and those are gone, and I know a lot of you already have them. But if you don't have it by this weekend, then let me know so I can check to make sure. It takes this list and this list and this list and then me cross-referencing it. I would rather some of you get two because it's a lot of cross-reference to see if you've already got one. But I know sometimes then my spreadsheet abilities when I was working in the real world were a little bit better than they are now when I'd rather be crafting. So if you don't have one, just let me know. Then along with the new catalog, I do my most popular class of the year, and I have moved the registration deadline up to the 26th of December. It's getting very close to being full already, and that will just allow me a little bit more time to get the order in and start cutting paper for those of you that have signed up. If you haven't signed up, it's called my Try It class. It's online. Whoops. We'll do 12 projects this time. Not all the Saleabration papers are in it, and that's part of the reason I'm playing with Saleabration papers over the next couple of days to decide which ones. 2 of them will be in it, and then the other 10 cards will be all things from the annual catalog. So you can see this is last January's Try It class. You get a booklet that you can download and keep. You can get it printed off if you want to print it off, but it has all of the pictures of all, well, it has a playlist for one, so you click that and you get all the videos, because you know I do videos. This has detailed instructions, so you can keep it, but it does have all the videos for the actual projects. And then it'll have the project, it has the measurements, everything that we used, and then it walks through the instructions for you. Most of, they're about probably a little more than half are fun folds, and the other ones are all template based, so that way you'll be able to go back in. If you don't have this paper anymore, you can still do a similar card with that, and that's available. People that do the online version and the mailed version both get that. So super fun, but it's a lot of work to cut. So once the class started getting fuller and fuller, I will tell you that as part of Saleabration, since we're doing Saleabration, the sign-up special this time is one of the best that we have had. Girls on my team do get this class for free. They get all of my online content always free, and I post all of the links on our group Facebook page. But for the Try It classes, they actually get the products as well. So I do a couple of extras. If you are thinking that you want to sign up in January, then let me know and I'll go ahead and cut your packet so you're sure that you have one. Because the offer for people who haven't signed up yet is while supplies last. Because I can't go back and make a packet. There is no way you can make one additional packet of these because it takes so long. So I'm going to use Fragrant flowers. So this stamp set and die set, the little bundle, are in the catalog. So these will be available till the end of April. Matching it is this fabulous paper, and I always like to point these out because some people will put it on their list. It needs to be towards the top of your list. You don't have to get the stamps at the beginning, but if you want to get the paper, Celebration's only January and February. So every single time we do this, the month after, people ask me where is the paper, normally paper that goes with something that they wanted. But this, you can see it has the flowers. It has really fun geometric patterns on the back. This is the sheet that we're using today. I love the colors. I love when we do, because you know it'll be January, February when we're using this. I call these winter flowers, and today's kind of a winter card. It's not one that you'll want to make if you'd rather be outside by the pool. So the colder it gets and the gloomier it gets, I tend to do more elaborate cards because I'd rather just be inside stamping. So I took this piece, these two pieces here. So we have the green geometric and this. Then you cut them both 5.5 by 4. This one is not yet 5.5. So you've got them both cut 5.5 by 4. You are going to lay them then together. Do it at the same time. Otherwise, no matter how unless you're an engineer, but if you sit there and think about it, you're like, this is right, and you cut it, and then the triangles go the wrong way. And trust me, I know, because we do these in in-person events all the time, and it's very easy to cut it the wrong way. So, but if you stack them up with the two sides that you want to use, so these are the two sides that we want to use, put them in your paper trimmer. I'm going to go this way. Pretend that's not there. I thought that I had these ready. I already have the other half from the one. And then you're going to put this in the blade and this in the blade and just do your cut there. And that gives you the two triangles. So where are the two that I'm going to use? So this is cutting there and that's cutting there. So when you move it, you'll have two of these. That's why I still have another pair and I don't want to cut those up to make another of the same card once again. So then you'll be able to piece them together on your card and it makes a really fun background. We may do a version of this stepped up and try it because I have ways that I can get more than two pieces of paper on there. So we have that. Now let's do our stamping and I'm going to keep this here. So in this paper, there are some of the pages that's the exact flower as this and this, so you can trim them out. This is the color, the color palette that I want to use. So I'm going to just kind of keep this there so you can kind of see where we're going with the colors. I am going to use Memento. I measured that with the die. This piece of paper is looking kind of small with this big stamp. So you want to make sure that you ink everywhere. Sometimes when they get to be this big, it's really a better choice to use your Stamparatus if you have one. That way, if you miss a place, you're not wasting a big piece of paper. This is shimmery white paper. It's going to fit. I laid the die on it when I turned around it. And you want to make sure you press hard. But if you have your Stamparatus, then that if you miss a spot, obviously you can go back and get it. And you don't have to press so hard because you just do Stamparatus press. And then you can see that there are words in this set. Let me get this closed up. I'm going to emboss these. So it has a thanks and a hello. And then the die will cut both of these out. And then there's two little dies. So you can say thanks love. You can say thanks friend. You can say hello friend or hello love. I'm just going to do hello. I had a lot going on the card. So to add one more little thing was a bit much. I'm going to stamp this on the, I call it pewter. It's out of the silver foils pack. And I'm going to use my Versamark. You want to be careful that you don't catch the edges, but at least on the Versamark, if I do, I'll be able to wipe it off. I'm going to make sure not to rock it because you don't want to catch those edges. That stamp's pretty good, but not all the way perfectly because when you're working on the metallic paper, you know, it resists everything. It resists adhesive sometimes. It will resist the ink. And so that's what it does on these nice bold stamps. See, I caught that edge right there, so just wipe that off. Obviously Evening Evergreen, and you can see it has those white highlights in all of it. So we're going to add the white highlights at the end, but for now I'm just going to do, and I am going to do one leaf and then I'll go on and do the rest, and then it'll just magically appear. So I'm going to take my dark one, and you can see how it's kind of got dark in the middle, and just trace. We're going to use these lines on all of these things as guides. There's my dark. Now we'll go with the light. And with this, I'm just going to kind of smear them together. I've got all the leaves and the little stems. The difference on some of the colors of blend are huge, like the light and dark. With this, it's definitely darker and you can see it. But if you blend too much, they almost become the same color because they're such a dark color. Done with our leaves. Now I'm going to do this purple flower, and the colors that are in this, there's freesia, there's blackberry, and you can see this card has a lot more of the freesia than this one. So I am going to use dark blackberry, light blackberry, and then a little bit of freesia. And just like I said, I'm going to use these lines. You can see that they've kind of added the stuff over the top of all of their lines. So let's go with dark blackberry. And I'm just going to kind of trace over a lot of the lines. So I'll do that first. Now I'm going to go in with my light blackberry, and I'm just going to go into each petal and kind of smear these around. And at this point, almost all of these little lines have something. Not, you don't have to have 100%, but close. So now I'm just gonna add this around and kind of blend this, but I wanna keep some white in here. You can see that I'm taking, like right here where they're trying to get a place where you can see it, where there's still kind of lines, and just blending them. So I started at the top and I had the freesia there, and then I just pulled it down. Now for our next one, I am going to use kind of a funny combination. I'm going to do this for the dark, which is dark Calypso. Then I'm going to use ivory, and then light petal pink. The other pink, the dark petal pink, just made it a little bit too much of a pink tinge for what I wanted. We're going to do the exact same thing. And then in a couple of days, go to Instagram, and I will just do a fast forward of coloring this in. So you'll be able to see exactly how I did it if you want to see how to do your own. That's the Calypso. Now I'm going to go in with the ivory and do the same one where I kind of smear these lines together. And then the last color for this one is the petal pink, light. All right, you can see it's a pretty good match. These are a little bit, like this is a little bit more muted than that. I could maybe add a little bit of pumpkin pie, but I didn't want to go too far. The only thing that's missing are all of the white highlights. So I tried to leave some in the purple flower, especially because it's dark. This one, they kind of got sucked in, but I'm going to take my white watercolor pencil, and I'm just going to lightly add some wisps of white. Especially on the leaves, you'll notice it the most. And then go back in here. You can see on every petal, there's white. So any place where there's a little bit too much, this could stand to be sharpened. There's a sweet spot in them being sharp enough and being too sharp. If I do it now, it'll be a little bit sharp, and it kind of pokes into your card. You have to just kind of use the edge on some scrap paper. So I'm just adding this in here. And then I'll take my Stella. You could also use the blender pen since we already have it here if you want one less thing on your card. The Stella blends this really pretty, and you can see it puts those the white highlights, especially back on those green leaves. And it's already on shimmer paper, so this just adds a little bit more of that. Oh, this is beautiful. It'd be a nice shower card or wedding card if you just swapped out the hello. And the nice thing is you don't even have to get everywhere that you put the pencil, because where the pencil doesn't hit the Stella, it'll have a little bit more of a matte feel to it. And you can see, I know it's hard for you to see. You're going to have to make it so you can see it because of the light. But even if I had good light, this is not one of the easiest cards to see up close. Just add a little bit on those, even though I didn't put pencil. Pretty good match. Now I'm going to take the dies. I'm going to show you. I'm going to use the 2 leaves and then the little thistle that comes with it. And then I'm going to get all my stuff out of the way. Cut this one out. with its die, and then this one has a die. Then there was one more die, and I just couldn't figure out how to get it on here because it doesn't cut out. It's this, but I want to show you what it does. It's really pretty, and if I had more room on the card, I would have figured out how to get a strip of this on there, but it just adds that texture to paper and really nice on the metallics. Let me run these through. All right, our base is Petal Pink. Get that spare embossing powder that kind of just ends up everywhere, doesn't it? Have this. Then we have our really pretty background that we're going to do. The easiest way I find to do this is just go ahead and put the adhesive on your card. Remember, we have a 1/4 inch border on the edges over here, but no border down. We did 5.5, and this is a 5.5 card. So if you use seal, you'll be able to move it if you need to, or if you use the green glue. So you don't want to use something permanent. And then here's a tip: don't push hard until it's on where you know you want it. And then just line those up against each other. That's pretty good. It could have been over a squish more that way. I'm gonna start with my flower, and I'm gonna put dimensionals on it, and we'll stick it on here. I'm gonna line it. It goes nicely on this cut. So I'm gonna put them here and do our words. I know I cut them out. And remember, it's gonna resist a little bit on the back depending on which adhesive you use. So I always like to put a little bit more. Stick that in there. We have a big leaf, a smaller leaf, and then the thistles. And then for ribbon, this paper doesn't have a ribbon because it's not part of a suite. This is actually part of the Valentine suite, and it comes with red, I think. Yep, with a spool of red. But it kind of pulls into that ivory that I colored on the flower. So just cut a loop. This is for all of you who tell me you can't tie bows, because you don't have to with this one. You'll put a little bit of adhesive down here. This is why I'm not using a glue on this, because it's, I suppose it would work, it would just take a long time. So now you have one big loop. Put a little bit more adhesive there. I'm gonna flip it over and put some on the other side as well. Well, I've just got that much of it. Stick your fingers together. And then just take it. It twists easy. You can see that it depends on kind of how it goes down there. You're gonna make a double bow. That's pretty good. And then you're gonna take where it's got the adhesive here and just kind of grab that together. Now, depending on how much you got on that one time, you may have enough that you don't have to add any. And this is why I put the flowers on dimensionals, because now I can just lift this up. Stick a little bit of ribbon under there, and it already had the adhesive on it. Let's go. There's thistles on this side, so I'm going to add the thistles over here. And then this, the big bow won't go up there. That's where I was going to put it on my first card, and I'm like, oh, doesn't fit. And this one kind of has to be, I liked it as far in as it had to be to stay on the card. And then your little one can go up here with your ribbon. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. And then these aren't part of a suite either. That's why I think I probably will use this paper, because it looks really nice with these. These are the opaque adhesive back gems. They're just in the catalog, so they're kind of hard to miss since they're not part of a suite. And I'm going to use the two purples and a white. And look, there's teensy tiny ones up there, which I didn't use last time just because it was kind of a pain when I'd opened them like this to get up there. This will also help cover up a little bit of your mess if you have, like I do, all that embossing powder that kind of sprayed everywhere, because my hands were not, I washed my hands before I did this, and then I cut the paper and they were still kind of damp. Easy. It takes a little bit of time with the coloring, but other than that, and this one, you know, the first one, I do have I did go back and add some more coral, but you most certainly don't have to, and it just added an extra step. Remember, this paper will be free starting January 5th through the end of February, or while supplies last. Sometimes the papers run out before the stamps. The stamps often don't run out at all, but if you want to get this stamp set, you don't have to get the stamp set right away, but you'll want to get the paper because it's so pretty too. Even if you don't use the side that coordinates with these particular flowers, the geometric patterns on it, I can't talk, are so pretty. That's what I have for you today. I am out of my office starting this Friday. So by the time this posts, it'll be almost time for me to be on vacation. So I'll be out for 2 weeks. If you need something, I would highly recommend that you email me before. I will check my email on rare occasion, like that stretch when we hit a couple days before Christmas. And then the day after Christmas, we have a Christmas party and we have tickets that night to the Colts Monday Night Football game. So there will be days where I'm going to be intentional about not checking my email, because sometimes when you work from home, you just always work from home. I'm not going to check it at all during that stretch. So don't think something's happened to me if I don't respond, but I need some time. So then starting probably the 21st, we have events almost every day next week, and baking cookies with my mom and my daughter, and Christmas parties and places to go and presents to wrap. So I won't be able to answer your emails starting, I'm telling myself the 19th is the last day. I may check a couple of emails and tracking and stuff on the club. But other than that, I do have videos that will post. Hopefully, I'm working on all those the next couple of days so I can get some pre-ready for you. But if I don't, then just have a Merry Christmas. If you don't see another one, there will be another one, but maybe you'll be busy too and not be watching them. I will catch you back here later though. Maybe it'll be a see you next year kind of thing. Bye.